Hello, everybody. Continuing with the body physiological system, today we will study about the digestive tract or digestion. Digestion is basically the physiological process by which the body breaks down the ingested food into smaller and absorbable components. So, the goal of digestion is to convert the complex food molecules into simpler forms that can be absorbed and utilized by the body for energy, growth, and maintenance of the body functions. So, digestion occurs in a system called gastrointestinal tract system that includes the oral cavity or mouth, the tubular structure esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, and the other parts of other organs that helps or aids in digestive processes like liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. So digestion can be mechanical digestion or it can be chemical digestion. So mechanical digestion is the process of physically breaking down of the food particles into smaller particles without changing their chemical composition. This initial breakdown of the food facilitates the subsequent action of the enzymes during the chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion primarily mainly occurs in the mouth and stomach where the food is physically manipulated and broken down into smaller pieces. The chemical digestion, it uses certain enzymes to break down the nutrients. In mechanical, that was physical breakdown. Here it is chemical digestion using certain enzymes to break down the nutrients into smaller molecules. For example, the salivary glands secrete saliva containing the enzymes in the oral cavity or mouth during mastication. The final product of the chemical digestion, like simple sugars, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerol, they all are being absorbed through the lining of the small intestine into the blood stream. Digestive system, first the oral cavity. This is the first place where the digestion of the food occurs. So, in the oral cavity, chewing, also known as the mastication, is the mechanical process of breaking down the food particles into smaller, more manageable pieces in the oral cavity or mouth. It is the first step in the digestion of the food and plays a crucial role in preparing the food for the further processing in the digestion and digestive system. Our teeth are mainly responsible for chewing process. Also within the mouth, the saliva contains enzymes like amylase, which begins the chemical breakdown of the carbohydrates into sugars, which our body can easily be absorbed because it is the simpler form of the carbohydrate. Saliva also contain an enzyme called lingual lipase, which breaks down fats. So in the mouth, both mechanical as well as chemical digestion is occurring. Mechanical by chewing and chemical by the enzymes. Now, within the mouth or the oral cavity, the chewed food mixed with the saliva is now called as bolus. And this bolus, during swallowing, the tongue pushes the bolus to the back of the mouth into the oropharynx. It's a muscular ring at the upper end of the esophagus, which is called upper esophageal sphincter, relaxes to allow the bolus to enter the esophagus. Esophagus and nothing is occurring here as like chemical or mechanical digestion, but it is the part of the digestive tract because it acts as a conduit or passageway of the ingested food. That is the bolus that is formed within the oral cavity, allowing for the efficient transport of the bolus of the chewed food mixed with saliva from the oral cavity to the stomach through the peristaltic movement. So this movement of bolus through the esophagus into the stomach is occurring because of the peristaltic movement, which are basically the rhythmic coordinated muscular movements that we will see in next or after some slides. So now these muscular contractions and relaxation propels the bolus through the esophagus towards the stomach. Peristalsis allows for one-way movement, that is they are allowing the passage of this bolus towards the stomach. They will not the peristaltic movement will not occur in the direction going back from the stomach into the oral cavity. So the peristaltic movement are unidirectional. They are continuously propelling the food from esophagus to stomach, stomach to the small intestine, and then the large intestine, and so on. If in some cases antiperistaltic movement occurs, that might lead to vomiting in some pathological conditions. Now the lower esophageal sphincter, the lower esophageal sphincter. This is the muscular ring which is located at the lower end of the esophagus. The upper esophageal sphincter that allows the bolus to enter into the esophagus was at the upper end of the esophagus, but at the lower end it is called lower esophageal sphincter. So it will relax. Normally it remains contracted at rest to prevent the stomach contents, including the stomach acid, from reflexing back into the esophagus. So during swallowing, the lower esophageal sphincter relaxes to allow the bolus to enter the stomach. So in stomach, both uh, chemical and mechanical type of digestion occur. So when after swallowing, the bolus enters the stomach uh, helps the process of the food for in the digestive system. The first thing the stomach do is that it churns the bolus or it churns the food, ensuring that the food particles are thoroughly exposed to the digestive enzymes and acid, hydrochloric acid present within the stomach. The muscles wall of the stomach or the churning movements here allow it to compress and break up the food into smaller particles, creating a semi-liquid consistency type of bolus, which we'll see it is called as chyme. There are, in the next slide, we see there are cardiac and pyloric sphincters which remains closed during the churning movement of the food. And secondly, the acidic environment or the presence of the hydrochloric acid in the gastric juice secreted by the gastric wall is needed to activate an enzyme that is called pepsin, which will break down the protein into smaller peptides or amino acid chains during the digestive process, and then it can be used for hydrolysis or the enzymes assisted degradation or breakdown of this bolus. So finally, this bolus, after entering into the stomach, um, further uh, further breakdown into smaller pieces, and the two functions are occurring. The mechanical is churning movements, and the uh, chemical is the presence of the pepsine, which are being activated by hydrochloric acid or the acidic environment of the stomach. And now this partially digested food is called chyme. Chyme is, by definition, chyme is just a semi-fluid mixture of partially digested food and stomach secretions that forms in the stomach during the process of digestion. So it is the result of mechanical and chemical digestion of food in the stomach, where the bolus of the food undergoes further breakdown to prepare it for absorption in the small intestine. The food particles in the chyme are small than those in the ingested bolus due to the grinding and churning action of the stomach. The stomach also stores food until it is the right time for chyme to be released into the first part of a small intestine, that is duodenum. So you can say that stomach stores the food up to approximately 2 to 3 liters of food at any given time, and it is released in the form of a small content as it is needed. So first, look what is peristalsis. Peristalsis is the uh, muscular or rhythmic movement of the involuntary muscle contractions that lines the gastrointestinal tract, that is the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. It helps to propel the chyme, initially the bolus, then the chyme forward through the digestive system of the digestive system for the absorption of the nutrients. Peristalsis moves the food through the whole digestive system, beginning from the swallowing, that is from the esophagus, stomach, small and large intestine. The digestive system in the stomach, the pyloric sphincter is the thickened, smooth muscles structures found at the junction between the stomach and the small intestine. And this pyloric sphincter will regulate the amount of the chyme that is found in the stomach to be released into the first part of the small intestine, that is duodenum. So not all the chyme which is produced will go at one shot. Rather, a small amount is released into the small intestine.